Iron Show. I'm your host, Big Jack. This is where we prove that we are stronger together and that if each one reach one, we can all grow and glow. Today, I got my guest with me, Mr. Paul McKnight. Hello, Paul. How you doing, sir?
Good evening, Big Jack. How you doing today?
Oh man, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being on the show. Let me just give you some little lowdowns or breakdowns of how the show works. This is, of course, we're live side by side, and the show is called Iron Sharpening Iron, and it's where your skills and my skills, and your ideas, your experiences, and my experience will help us become stronger together. So, and with that, we are live, so there's going to be people that's going to come in. You'll be able to see their comments, or when they come in, you'll see their comments down in the comment section at the bottom if you can see it. And then with that, we'll be able to interact with the people that's commenting. They can ask questions and things like that. And we'll just be talking with them. You all right with that?
I'm good with that.
All right, that's good. That's good. Right now, I see we got, and we will try to take time to make sure we acknowledge the people that's down there. I seen there was some comments that was already down, but I don't know if they were new comments. So if you're there and you're in, all right, I can see Mind Games is in. Hello, Mind Games. How you doing? Welcome to the show, the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. We got Mr. Paul McKnight here. And Mind Games, I'm gonna go ahead and try to give you your blue jacket once I can get in there. So I'm gonna try to get you a blue jacket on so you can to interact with us in here. All right, so Mind Games is here. Let's see if we can get Mind Games a blue jacket. I've never done it before, so if I mess it up, forgive me. Just forgive me. All right, let's see if I did it right. We'll see if if it helped. I don't know if it worked or not, so we'll see. But anyway, so Mind Games is in. All right. All right, I see Resilient Queen. I see that name is down there, so we'll make sure. Well, all right, Mr. Paul, can you tell us about yourself?
All right. Thanks for having me on. First off, Big Jack, and congratulations for crossing over your thousandth subscriber. I see that number still growing, so I'm happy to be here.
Oh man, I
So, look,
appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you.
you're welcome. So, yeah, the biggest thing is I'm newly retired, as you kind of put out there in your comments. I did over 27 years in the military, originally from the state of Mississippi. I grew up here and made some choices to go out and see the world. So I've kind of been all over the country, a couple places here and there around the globe. Uh, just recently retired a couple years ago, and kind of decided, well, I would say the world decided for me that I would go into teaching high school.
Mm.
So currently, I'm teaching high school, junior ROTC. So it's a great job, and you know, I would say I give you a term I learned a long time ago, called catastrophic success.
Mm.
So that's one that I kind of live by. We talk about silver linings or happy mistakes. I call it catastrophic success. Sometimes success can be so massive that you're not prepared for it. So learning a lot of new things after a lot of years in the military. So life is good at the moment. Just I guess just small time Mississippi boy made good for a little bit.
All right, all right. Well, one, thank you for your service, and I'm gonna take it. Looking at the shirt that you got on it, it was U.S. Army that you retired from. But again,
Yeah.
thank you for your service, and it's amazing too. Because I'm looking at you and I'm like, this is a young man, and he's talking retired. So that's just is going to be a little different. I'm gonna acknowledge some people in the chat real quick, and then we're gonna talk
Okay.
some more. So we got D Outdoor Family. Hello, D Outdoor Family. How you doing? Thanks for being on the show. And Allison Mapp, how you doing? Thank you for coming in the show. If y'all haven't hit that like button already, please hit that like button and check each other out. Make sure I'm giving y'all your blue jackets today. It's almost like the Masters. You win the Masters, you get a green jacket. You've won today, so you get a blue jacket. So I'm making sure, and I'm trying to make sure everybody get their blue jackets today in the chat. So we got Mr. Paul McKnight here, U.S. Army retired veteran, and definitely happy to have him here with us. And so you retired. So can you tell us a little bit about your military history? I mean, now that you're retired.
Okay. So a funny story about how I even joined the military. I was coming into my senior year, and it was kind of that senior year, and everything was going well. I graduated number two in my class, had great ACT scores, but it's kind of hard to figure out how to take that information and translate it. So the first thing I felt was the answer was to join the military. I turned 18 and met my recruiter on the other side of town to make sure I wasn't seen meeting with the Army recruiter because I don't think my family would have approved. So I didn't ask permission. I waited till I was 18.
All right.
Um, so I met my recruiter on the other side of town and signed my contract. And when I was 18, before I graduated high school. So as soon as I graduated, I'd already joined the military before I graduated. And precursor to that, again, one of those things that you don't quite understand. Had no intention to join the military. Took my ASVAB uh, as a way to get out of making a zero in my mathematics class. So I
Mm.
scored well, met a recruiter, and after that, the rest was history. So joined the Mississippi, the Army Reserve as an enlisted soldier straight out of high school.
Oh wow, wow. Now that's different because we all got different stories of how we got in. So it's funny because I also was in the military, so I'm a veteran. I'm an Army veteran as well,
Mhm.
and I was in college before I went in, and
Okay.
I was in college and playing on full scholarship, playing football for. I had transferred from Virginia Tech and went on to West Virginia Tech, a much smaller school, and the coach that got me to transfer over, he got fired after the first season. So now I'm sitting in this new program with a coach, and they brought this coach in, and the coach had us out there practicing like at 5:30 in the morning. 5:30 in the morning, we out on the football field practicing. And I made a comment one day because I was upset. I was like, if I'm gonna get up at 5:30 in the morning, I'm joining the army. And he's like, then join the army then. So I went straight to the ROTC program on the college that they had, talked to the recruiter there, and I was in the army. So that was my
Wow.
way of getting in. It was one of those. I was in school in college, but it was just one of those things where 5:30 in the morning, if I'm getting up that early, I'm going in the military. So that's how I got in. So uh, everybody got a different. Those who have been in or have been in, or all the veterans out there, it's a different story of what made you, what pushed you to get in there. I had no intentions when that day started that I was going to go in the army. I was just running my mouth as a young, probably 21-year-old, saying, "Hey, I'll join the army." When the coach said go, I went, and the rest is history. So but all right, so you went in the reserves, and did you retire from the reserves, or how did that go? What happened from there?
So I didn't retire from the reserves. What happened was I joined, went to basic AIT. For those who don't know what AIT is advanced individual training. So first time, I guess, really away from home for an extended period of time. So I went to basic training at AIT, one station training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. So I was there from about July till about the end of November. So that basically wiped my first semester of college off the board. So I wound up going to Jackson State University, an HBCU here in the state of Mississippi, um, the spring semester.
Mm.
So had already planned on going to Grambling, but I got back, kind of had not done my paperwork. And say kind of, I didn't do my paperwork. Luckily, I was close enough, being from the state of Mississippi, to roll into Jackson State. They were doing open enrollment, so I enrolled in Jackson State. Um, I did that for a little while. Well, I did that for about a year and a half, so about a year and a semester. And at the same time, I was in the junior ROTC, so senior ROTC program at the time. So I kind of ping ponged around a little bit. So I did the ROTC program for about a year and a half, and decided I was burnt out with college for some
Mm.
reason at the year and a half mark. And so, because I was already in the reserve, I decided to just go from reserve to active duty. I
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
under ROTC scholarship or anything. So there I was again back on the active duty train, and did that for a little while.
Mm.
Um, After about another year, 18 months, didn't quite like my leadership. And I'm saying, hold on, I think I could do this better than they can. So about that time, I had made E5 and was at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and had kind of a unique experience on one of my project sites. So as an enlisted soldier, I was an engineer, had done both combat engineer and construction engineer. So I was operating equipment And like I said, at the time, I was an E5,
Mm.
and I had my own team, and went out. And of course, for engineers, there are standards that we have to do according to Fort Campbell, the CG's policy, and the whole nine. And I went out. Um, I went out and I was doing a job for a major, an O4, and he wanted something that I particularly knew I couldn't do, and I refused to do it. So I packed my team up and left.
Oh wow. Wait a minute.
Yeah. So that was the longest ride back from a job site back to the motor pool because we were just out on the training site. So no sooner could I get back than my lieutenant was standing at the motor pool when I got there,
Right.
and it turned to a full on, uh, shouting match, a match I was not destined to win anyway.
Mm.
But it came down to at that point doing what I knew was right versus doing what someone wanted me to do, and potentially not only get myself in trouble, getting the rest of my team in trouble.
Yeah.
So it was a really tough choice that day, but that told me that I wasn't fit to listen to someone because of their position tell me what to do.
Mm.
Uh, so
Yeah.
oddly enough, following that a couple weeks later, this is where I think my career and my life kind of took a turn. I was in a motor pool one day doing just my normal routine business, and someone from the G1 um, called out to me at the motor pool. And if anyone's not familiar, G1 is basically the general officer staff. So the commanding general of staff reached out to me and say, "Hey, we got your information from your company commander. We wanted to extend to you a green to gold scholarship."
Oh wow. That's
So
awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome right there. So wait a minute. So let me get this straight. Now, I want to make sure I'm catching this story. You was told by an officer, a commission officer. So that's the ones who wearing the different. If those who don't know what commission is, non-commissioned officers and they're commissioned officers. So your E numbers like E5, E6, E7. That's your sergeants, staff sergeants, master sergeants, sergeant majors. Those are your non-commissioned officers. And then your commissioned officers are those who are lieutenants. So you got your lieutenants, then you got captains, then you got majors, you got lieutenant colonels, colonels, and generals. Those are your commissioned officers. So
Right.
with basically what I'm hearing, Paul, what you hear you say is that a commissioned officer told you as a non-commissioned officer to do something that probably wasn't uh, rightful or right to do, and
Correct.
you chose to do the right thing, which was to disobey the order, but you did it for the right reasons to save your people, and you ended up getting a scholarship for doing it. In that sense, am I
Yeah.
catching it?
Yeah. Pretty
Oh,
much.
that's crazy. That's crazy. That,
Yeah.
that that's look. That's God's working in your favor for sure. That's God's working
It is.
because you took a stand. You took a stand, and that's we need more, definitely more officers to take that stand, no matter non-commissioned or whatever, just to take the stand and say, "Hey, I'm not going to do anything that's going to hurt me, my career, or my people." And when you take a stand like that, and you take that kind of stand, good things happen for you. I mean, it really does. You're proof. You're right there in front of us. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's awesome right there. I'm pause real quick. So I
Okay.
know that Jamal came in. I want to say, hey, Jamal, thank you for coming in. And if Joe, I see you're in there. Thank you for coming in. KC Inspirational Tales. Thank you, KC, for being in. I see Nemo is in there. Nemo, what's up? I'm gonna have to give Nemo his blue jacket. I got that from you, Casey. Everybody gets a blue jacket. So if I find Nemo again, I'll make sure he gets his blue jacket. But thank you for being here. We're here at the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. I got Mr. Paul McKnight here. He is a retired military or Army veteran, and he's telling us a story so far about how he was enlisted, and now he had a point where he got a offer for a scholarship for a green to gold program. So what does green to gold mean? Can you explain that to us?
Okay. So green and gold, I guess, is their visualization of going from enlisted to commissioned, right? So we talk about green and the rank, and so we talk about it. Military rank for the enlisted soldiers is kind of the OD green color on a gold background. Uh, Now, when you get your rank, when you go gold, your first commission is a second lieutenant, which is a gold bar,
Mm.
affectionately known to a lot of people in the military as a butter bar.
Right.
So, your first rank is the gold bar, so to speak. So you go from what they call green rank to gold rank. And so I think that's kind of the inception or the visualization of what it is you do going from green to gold.
Got you. Got you. So I mean, so in an instance, and I guess I'm just trying to visualize it because again, I was in the military and I served my time, but I didn't get an offer to go green to gold. Um, but I did hear about some people that went green to gold. I didn't even know they could come to you. So that's pretty cool. I've seen a lot of people take like a course or go and take a test and they wanted to go green to gold.
Mm.
So for them to come to you, that's just awesome in itself. Um, and and then what you have to do? What's the next steps? I guess if you accept the scholarship, or how does that work?
So this is again one of those kind of nerve-wracking decisions. Back when I was going green to gold, the option was basically take a DD 214 and get out and go to college full time.
Mm.
So
Oh, definitely.
it's essentially a full ride scholarship. At the time, they were trying to work a bridge program to let you stay on active duty, but a lot of things are luck and timing, right?
Right.
And so at that time, I was basically out of the military. They gave me some sort of bridging, but it wasn't an ideal situation. So we talk about my life at that point. I was maybe mid 20s or so,
Mm.
and I was married and had kids, and so to another service member, and of course, it was high stress, high adventure. It was kind of that risk. Uh, it was a high risk but high payoff. And so, you go from making that decision to take that high risk or gamble really, really big on what the outcome would be. And, like I said, I call it gambling, but I think it was just kind of divine path that I was on. God had kind of preordained that path for me. So as scary as it was, I wasn't too fearful to make the decision.
Right. Gotcha. Mm.
But it's a challenge because you're out there in the world without the benefits that you develop on your own. And the blessing was I was married to another service member, so there were some things I was able to retain and my kids were able to retain because of that.
Mm.
uh, it made the decision a little bit easier. But for those who would be faced with this decision, it's tough if you don't have the right timing so that everything is still covered for you.
Right, right, and that makes sense. A lot of people, especially when you've got family, you got to. It's a lot of choices that you make, and a lot of decisions you have to make that you take. You got to take your family in consideration of some of the things that you're doing. Um, I've had officers tell me 100%. If we wanted you to have a family, we'd have issued you a family. So it was one of those things where a lot of decisions, and a lot of orders and things that you had, and you had to go do they didn't consider the family wasn't part of it. They wasn't thinking about, well, you got a wife, you got kids, you got this and that. It was you're here to do a job and it's all about the job. It's not about all the other things that come with it. So
Right.
you do have to start thinking about, your family when you make a decision, especially now it would have been I'm sure it's beneficial for you in your for your career and all, but then like say the sacrifice not only you, your spouse, and your children have to go through while you're making that decision. So that's pretty good. I want to try to catch some of these if we can catch some of the comments down here. I
Okay.
see Jamal said bringing you greetings from Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania, Lancaster County, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, East Coast. Hello again, Jamal. Uh, let's see. Thank you for sharing this awesome testimony and telling us in just being blessed over here. Thank you again, Jamal. So I see, like I said, I'm not gonna be able to get them all, but I'm saying thank you, Nemo. I see Nemo's here again. What's it? Destined to recover. I'll make sure you get your blue jacket. And Resilient Queen, I'm gonna make sure you get your blue jacket. So give me a second. I'll hit on those things. We have Mr. Paul McKnight with us today on the Iron Sharpening Iron Show, and we're discussing him transforming or going from the green program, which is being a non-commissioned officer, to now having to go back to college, which he avoided in the first place, based off your story. And now they say go back to college so you can get on the gold side of the which is a commission officer. So now going from the green to gold, which I honestly believe will make you a better person, a better officer, because you know what it feels like to be enlisted. And then, but I don't know. I don't want to put no words in your mouth. How does that work? Did it make you a better person?
Um, Absolutely think so. We talk about empathy and sympathy. I think had I not done it, I don't think I would have developed into, what we all kind of look for now is that servant leader. That person that is not so quick to admonish you or not so quick to allow growth. What I realized with my decisions back when I was enlisted, some of the decisions that were made. On how I was disciplined or how I was supported or how I was admonished or praised even, I go back to that story and, the key point was my commander recommended me to the commanding general for that.
Mm, right.
And so, that didn't come by way of the commander just knowing me. I worked hard for my first sergeant, my sergeant major, and all my enlisted, leadership at the time. I was on track to get E6 within the next like 3 months.
Mm,
And
wow.
so it was one of those things where understanding what it's like to be supported when you have to be down in the dirt, and then also understanding what it's like to be supported by your company commander who says that they see a potential in you in which you can lead and lead from the front, um, and also know how to support your team and take care of people. So,
Right.
that duality of what it is to be a non-commissioned officer and being a commissioned officer, I learned that through that process of going green to go or being recommended to go through that process.
Right. Well, that's awesome in itself. I mean, where now, Paul, and I know you're. I don't know for sure. Are you a small content creator? Are you creating content in the social media world, or do you even put videos, anything out? I'm just
I
asking.
don't. I don't. I'll be completely honest though. I've been inspired just kind of watching your series grow.
Mm,
Um, sometimes you feel like I think you said it a couple shows ago. Sometimes you just have to start. You got to hit the start button.
I hit this button.
Um, and so I, I would one day. It's just at the moment I'm not quite sure I'm ready for it yet.
No.
Again, that if that's where I'm pushed to, that space I'm pushed to, I do feel fortunate that I've been able to kind of watch you start, and don't have to watch it quote unquote a YouTube video or go to YouTube University to figure it out.
Right. Well, the thing is, you're way ahead of the curve right now because you're already live. There's a lot of people that's still trying to go live,
Yeah,
and just because they want to come out, they have to come out that shell. They got to come out and do it. So you're already on a live show right now inside. So you're creating content even if you didn't know. But some of the things that we do, and this is a part of the show, is we want to help each other grow. We want to use
okay,
those things where we promote each other. We see the potential in each and every person down here and having different people what we use as even inside the YouTube world, inside our little communities, we have people that inspire each other to get out there, post those videos, go live and do these different things because we're trying to grow and glow. And that's what the big thing is. We're stronger together. So having that mindset that you're pushing your people when you would say, like say your commander and you worked hard and your commander saw that. We see that in these content creators. We see that they're working hard. We see them putting out the product. We see them put the time that they're putting in, and it's like you should be growing. Let's help you grow this thing. Let's help you push this thing up to your full potential because we're not in competition with each other. And like
right,
I'm sure that's what your commander seen. It ain't no different than the people that was serving under you that you were over. You're not in competition with them. We're all on the same mission, on the same goal. It's enough. If it's enough for all of us to definitely grow and glow together in that sense. There's enough room for everybody to blow up. So that's the big push right there. So
okay,
I commend you for accepting the challenge. And there's something I heard yesterday, and I think it was KC definitely said yesterday. Sometimes you got to take time out just to for yourself. You got to take time out and reward yourself, or take that acknowledgement and just say, "Hey, I did work hard. I did. I do deserve this." Sometimes we don't think that. Why me? Why did they choose me? Why did they pick me? But when you look at it, like, well, I work hard. I bust my hump. I put my time in. I do deserve this. That's wise me, wise me. And not to say that I'm trying to chew and spit anybody else out, but when you really think about it, it's like, okay, it's me because this is what I did. I worked hard. If you put things in, you're going to get things out. That's the whole thing. If you don't deposit anything, you should never look for anything to come out. But if you put in the work, put in the time, put in the energy, you should get those rewards that come out. So congratulations on that for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, I got to give. They said Brazilian queen her green jacket, oh blue jacket. I'm sorry. As soon as I find her again, I'm gonna give her a jacket. Give me a second. Sorry if I missed anybody. We got Mr. Paul McKnight with us. He's military, Army veteran, retired, and he's telling us about how he went from being a non-commissioned officer to a commissioned officer, and the experiences he went through with that. So, can you share with us, Paul, a successful story? So, one of your military stories, a successful story that you wouldn't mind sharing with us.
I think I would have to say my biggest success was graduating flight school.
Mm,
Uh, I'll kind of double back to the end of my college semester. So, as I told you, end of my college year or my senior year, crazy scenario happened there. So, I was a secondary mathematics education major, and I had an advisor that was not really engaged. And so, there was a class I needed was only offered once a year. And so, at this time, I was set to graduate on time, had already been granted the branch of aviation through the assessment process as I was getting ready to graduate. So I was branched to aviation, which was my goal all along. So I was happy. I was just ecstatic moving along until I found out that I was going to miss a class. And
oh,
missing a class after a sessions could essentially put you back in the pool for a branch assignment. So I would have lost what I'd already gained.
mm,
So that put me to a place where I had to change my major in the last year of college. So I went from mathematics to public administration. And that was a humongous deal because I had to basically cram 2 years of college into 1 year
mm,
because I had taken nothing in public administration, like zero classes. So, long story short, there I was, three kids at the time, deployed spouse, and my final semester trying to do 30 hours to graduate.
right.
And so by the skin of my teeth, I crossed I crossed that stage with my degree. So that in and of itself seems like an accomplishment, but I would say graduating from flight school at the time again because the second deployment had rolled around. I was now again a single dad with three kids, trying to complete flight school,
Mm,
and that's different. That's vastly different because it's the academics, it's the learning how to be an officer because I was a brand new officer, and learn how to be a pilot all at the same time. So graduating flight school between the my academics, the kids being in school, so first and second grader, and kind of a small daycare baby, uh, you know, it- that to me is where I touch back in my life and say if I have a struggle, I haven't met a struggle or hadn't met I would say such a demanding time in my life as that. So everything after that kind of pales in comparison because I felt like that was the highlight of my career is in terms of making through something that was difficult.
wow, wow, that yeah, that's amazing. Like I say, I'm hearing you saying with the kids, and I know when I was in, I had three kids while I was serving as well. And I know when I was in a rapid deployment unit, so we were constantly gone. Every time you would turn on the news and you heard there was a conflict somewhere, I was in the 24th Infantry Division down in Fort Stewart, Georgia, and
Right.
every time the news flashed, we were packing our bags. We was gone. We was up in the air. We was getting ready to go somewhere, and
Yeah.
it's hard on the family because I'm 100% saying to anybody that's if you have a veteran in your family or a person that's active in your family, your support is important. Your support is important to that person because they need those letters, they need the support, they need the understanding when they have to go and be deployed, no matter who they are, the male, the female, the mother, the father, it makes no difference. But when they go, so I believe that we all serve in a way. You might not be on the battlefield, you might not be in uniform, you might not be in the desert or the wherever you are, whatever you're serving in, but because you're at home holding down the fort, anybody that you got back home holding down the fort, they're doing just as much work, if not more, than what you're doing overseas because they still got to keep that going. And a lot of people don't realize this. And I know Paul, me and you had talked about it before, but a lot of people don't realize this. You lose money when you get deployed. You know, you lose money when you get deployed because when they deploy you, and I know I'm gonna get back on your what you said, but when they deploy you, they send you overseas or wherever. They send you with the separate what they call separate rations, the money for the food, the money that the
Mhm.
military pays you to eat. They take that away from your paycheck because they're going to feed you when you're overseas. So if you was using that money at home to feed your kids or whatever, it's that money is gone. That money is no longer part of the food for the kids. So now the budget that you might have had has now shrunk in a little bit because you got deployed. Now you're
Right.
like, well, yeah, they're feeding the soldier. Yeah, but the soldier got kids. So that's where that one, that was an argument I had, and that's when the officer told me, if we wanted you to have kids, we'd have issued you kids. And I'm like, oh, that's yeah. So that helped me when I was time for me to make a decision on to stay in or get out. That was one of the things where I'm like, you really don't care about me. You care about what I can provide and what I can offer as far as my service to the country. But at the same time, I have a whole life that's outside of just working and grinding in the sand or whatever. And that was one of my moves. And that's one of those things where, even when you hear some people say you got to look out for you, you have to look out for you. You got to
You
look
do.
out what's best for you. And
Mhm.
then, I tell no one ever to quit their 9 to 5. Never, 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 never.
Right.
You need to have something in place before you decide to do all of those type of things. But if you're a person who knows somebody who's getting ready to go in the military, or that you're pushing them to go in the military, I want you to think about it. That is not the highest paying job on the enlisted side. That is not the highest paying job in the world. The first thing they told me when I got to Fort Stewart, Georgia, and I'm sharing this with you, Paul. That's the first thing they told me when I got there. They said, "Okay, you qualify for food stamps." Gave me a letter and told me where to go downtown. I'm like, wait a minute, food
Yeah.
stamps? Yeah, you qualify for food stamps. So they don't pay you a lot of money. So it's not the place to go if you want to be rich. Do not join. And I'm talking to anybody who's thinking about joining the military and stuff like that. Don't join for the college because that's if you want to go to college, go to college. If you want,
Right.
because the military, you might be called to go to war. So don't say, well, I only came here for the college. That is the college is for college. College is for study. Military is for really defending the country. So, that's a benefit of the military is that you can get some college and go to school and stuff, but don't go in there with the idea that that's what I'm going in for because
Right.
you might get yourself disappointed when they tap you on the shoulder and say, I need you to be in some whatever country because that's what you're in there for. That's what we drill for. At no time that other than the school that I needed to learn my job, that was the only school that they was asking me to go to.
Right.
Here I know for green to go, they was asking you to go back to another school. But to do your job, they got schools for that. They got schools for that. So yeah.
Yeah.
So all right. So I heard you say pilot license. So what were you what was your pilot of? Can you share with us? What was you doing?
So at Fort Rucker, Alabama, now Fort Novosel, I started out with the TA-67. A lot of times you see it, it's a Bell 204, Bell 206 Jet Ranger. You'll see that was a starting aircraft. That was my basic aircraft. But I eventually went to my advanced aircraft, which was the AH-64 Delta Apache helicopter.
Oh, wait a minute. You flew the Apache helicopter?
I flew the Apache
Wow,
helicopter.
that's crazy.
Yes,
Man,
sir.
okay. So I've heard of the Apache. I've never heard of the broke down by numbers or anything like that, but I know the Apache. So you was a Apache helicopter pilot.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy. So as an officer, you still had to fly, or that because you're an officer, that's why you flew. Is that how it works? Or
It's kind of both. As an officer, to lead the unit, you have to know how to fly. And again, my commission was based on being an aviator. So you have to do both. It's different than being a warrant officer. So most typically in the army, you have. We talked about the enlisted. We talked about the commission, but there's kind of this in between rank called warrant officer.
oh yeah,
So
yeah.
uh, if people are not familiar with that, it's the technical expert of a particular field. And so we have transportation warrant officers who solely work on transportation logistics. We have some that are ordnance. We have some that are supply, and of course, we have the aviators, which is the large warrant officer branch in the Army. And so they truly focus on the day to day, down and dirty, what it is to be a pilot in the Army. And so out of that particular branch, we have our instructor pilots, our maintenance officers, our safety officers, our tactical experts. We call them tactical ops or tactical operations, which entails quite a bit of intelligence and understanding the enemy in such a way we can fly safe.
Mhm.
So, on the other side of that, as an aviator, I had all the responsibilities of a warrant officer in addition to being a bona fide Army leader. So it's a much more difficult job to be an army an army commissioned officer than it is in any other branch. You know, your infantry guys focus on infantry, and your transportation guys focus on transportation requirements. But as an aviator, you have to meet all the aviation qualifications, whether it be academics, whether it be annual flight proficiency, or whether it be in the aircraft actually being able to function, fly, and be a leader, a commissioned leader of an aviation mission.
Wow. That's amazing. So I know as when I was, of course, I'm Army, and when I first went in, I was field artillery. So everything we had was down on the ground. Of course, the howitzers, the tanks, and things like that. Like you said, the infantry. But I was field artillery, so we had the howitzers, and then I trained changed over to military police. So that's when I switched over. So after my first tour, I re-enlisted and I took the military police angle, and that was some of the things that's what I wanted to do when I first went in. But I first went in, and went in and did my physical. I was colorblind. Well, I'm still colorblind. I'm colorblind. So they say you can't be an MP because the
Yeah.
MP can't be colorblind because if you ever had to defuse a bomb, you wouldn't know the difference between red and green and this and that. Which I am red, green, colorblind 100%. So I'm like, okay, but when it was time to re-enlist, they didn't care if I was colorblind. So when you
Wow.
need people, you move some things out the way. So I was like, wow. So all of a sudden, it doesn't matter that I'm colorblind, but it's okay. But that was one of the things but I was able to, once I became an MP, I was able to get around a lot more of some of those other vehicles, like say the Apaches and the Blackhawks and all of those different things. I was able to get more around them because of the fact that I was more in the mix of the mission. When you're a field artillery, you're so far back because
Right.
those guns can reach out and touch a lot. We don't need to be up on the front line. But when I got the MP, I was up on the front line. Now you're the one who's setting the roadblock and making sure everybody's safe to get through and all. Maybe not you because you overhead, but at the ground level people, we was the ones that was down there making sure that it was safe for them to travel up and down those roads. So I got to see a lot more of the different vehicles and the different modes of transportation. See an airborne unit or air assault unit coming out of the helicopters and things like that. But I've never, other than the Chinook, I was never able to, or had never been in a situation I had to get in one and use one or fly one or go in it. Not definitely not fly, but even ride in it. Other than the Chinook, which was if those who don't know what a Chinook is, it's the helicopter with the two propellers, the big giant propellers. They can take a tank inside of a Chinook. That's how big that thing is. Probably a Jeep or a couple of Humvees. I don't know if it'll take a tank, but it definitely take a couple of Humvees inside of it and some people. So that's how we got moved from one place to another. One time we had to use the Chinooks when I was in Korea. Um,
And
so
big, I'm gonna
go
give
ahead.
you one more. other
Mhm.
helicopters, which is crazy.
Say again?
We put other helicopters inside Chinook, so that's crazy as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Chinook is huge. It's a big old helicopter. And I was like, so I wasn't gonna insult and be wrong on saying what you could do with it, but I do know for sure that I know when I was in there, because that's one of the things they was like, do you want to be airborne? You want to be air assault? And Big Jack is a big guy. And I'm like, why do I want to jump out of a plane that's gonna land before I do? That makes no sense to me. That made no sense to me. So I'm like, no, I'm not going to be air assault. I'm not going to be airborne because that plane is going to land before I do. So why want to? And I'm like, I'm a big guy. And if you're using two parachutes for a Humvee, I need two parachutes. If you're not gonna give me two parachutes, I'm not jumping out this plane. So if you want me to jump, give me two chutes because I need some extra to come down out that sky. So I already know ain't nothing. Look, gravity is real. You ain't got to keep telling me. I've been in science class. Gravity is real. So once you jump, ain't nothing but the ground below. So I'm not having it. I'm not having it for sure. So no, I didn't go through any of those things, but I was impeded. Let's see what Resilient Queen said. What are some of the tips you would have for someone wanting to join the army? So that's a good question. I know we were going to talk about that, but if someone came to you and said they wanted to join, what would be some of the tips that you would give them?
You kind of hit on one about joining for college. So my first question to anyone, even in my high school program, is what are you joining for? Um, if you know what your goal is, um, it sets you up for success. Your chances of success are much greater. And so if you're looking at joining the army, and if you're saying you're joining for college, you understand if your goal is college. So when there's hard days, you keep your eye on the prize, keep your eye on the goal.
Yeah.
And so joining the military to me is always about what the end state is, whether it's a 20-year career in retirement or whether it's, hey, I want to do my 4 years and get out so I can have money for college. And then understand kind of and I'll be honest, it's the military, right? They're going to get more out of you than you're going to get out of it. It's kind of like casino. The house always wins.
Yes.
And so as long as you understand that you're going to trade off, Big Jack kind of said a little bit ago, it's kind of like being a number. And so you have to humble yourself. And if you're joining for the right reason and willing to humble yourself, it is the easiest job on the planet. It is absolutely the easiest job on the planet. Like we talked about, they're going to feed you, they're going to clothe you, they're going to house you. They're going to give you all the opportunities in the world to be successful as long as you do what's required of you. My biggest advice to anyone is know what your goal is, and from there, be accepting of what the path looks like. And so, again, kind of what I said, I wanted to go to college and I wanted to go active duty. I kind of bounced back and forth. Big Jack said, hey, I went in, I wanted to be an MP. I wound up being field artillery, and all of a sudden the path opened up and I could be an MP. As long as you're not willing to accept that first barrier as that thing that deters you from your goal, then if you can resolve all those things for yourself, then joining the military is something I would definitely advise anyone who has a desire to do to endeavor in.
No, very good answer. Resilient. I'm gonna throw a little bit. I'm gonna say nothing different here. In some countries, if you didn't know, it's a requirement at 18 that the males go to the military. The United States, it's a requirement that we sign a card, the selective service card, in case we had to go back to the draft or whatever in the United States. But in some countries, I can for sure speak for Korea and Japan and things. You turn 18 years old, you're going into the military. You're going to serve, or you're going to college, but you're not going to just sit at home. That's not one of the options. So you're either going to go to military or you're going to college. So because of that, right there, a lot of people, I look and I think that every male, especially males, should go into the military. I think do one term, do one tour. A tour is normally 3 years or 4 years. Do that one tour because having your veteran status opens up so many other doors for you. Because now you get veteran loans for your home. You get, if you got any injuries or whatever, you still get your medical with the VA hospital. And the education that you're going to get. A lot of jobs want to know what's your experience. Not only are they going to train you to do a job, you're going to have the experience because you've done the job for 3 to 4 years. So when you come out, you're going into places with not only the education for the job, but the experience for the job. Even with that, I could go to college for 4 years, 8 years, but when you come out, you had no experience because all you did was go to school. But when you do it in the military, you went to school and you got the experience because you had to do the job. And the military has every job you can imagine. There's every job that you can imagine in the civilian world is in the military, in the military world. There's someone cooking your food, there's doctors, there's lawyers, the people that run the payroll, all of those areas that's on the outside, this in the inside. That's how we get by. And you're not limited just to the Army because you got the Marines, you got the Air Force, you got the Navy, to the point that if I had to do it all again, and I'm just going to be straight up and honest now, and I'm Army Green all the way in, hoorah and everything else. But I'm telling you this, if I had to do it again, I'll go Air Force. I'm just going to be honest because the Air Force took care of them. I watched them take care of their people a whole lot better than the Army. When I was in the field, and I don't know about the aviation side of it, and Paul, I'm going to have you tell us in a second, but I'm in the field. I'm in Kuwait, and we dug our foxholes. We got all these foxholes and bags sitting around. We're sitting in the middle of the desert, and all of a sudden, I got this half of a tent, only half of a tent, because
Yeah.
my battle buddy got the other half, and we're going to put this thing together, and we're going to share it. So it's like me and this person going to share this tent that's not big enough for Big Jack. I'm telling you, not big enough for me. But yeah, we want two of us to go in this thing. All right, so no, but then we got back to the garrison. So we go back to we come out the field. They let us get a couple of days of rest. They call R&R, rest and relaxation. Even though you're in the combat area, we're going to relax a little bit. And the Air Force was over there, and some of the guys, and they were complaining and was going to get extra money because they had to sleep in an airplane hangar.
Right.
I'm like, what? Wait a minute. You're sleeping in an airplane hangar on a bunk and you're going to get paid. You're like, yeah, this is beneath our standards. I'm like, wow, I got to
Yeah.
go Air Force. I got to go
Yeah.
Air Force.
Yeah.
There's no way. There's no way I'm sleeping on. Yeah, look at somebody say that DCB say what with air conditioning. 100% air conditioning, got phones, mess hall, bathrooms with flush. You can, oh my gracious. Oh my God. And they were like, this is beneath our standards. I'm like, well, we have no standards because I'm out in the middle of the desert. Yeah, with a shovel and a chair.
Yeah.
So you don't know what's going on out there. So what I would recommend to anybody who wants to go in, and Paul said it best, have a plan when you go in. Don't just do it because some people do it because of discipline. I did it out of anger. I know when I first went in, and if you didn't hear the beginning of my story, I was in college. Me and the coach got into it, and I ended up joining the Army. But that was the wrong reason. The only thing that helped me in that sense is I had a couple of other family members that had been in. They were already veterans, so I had some people that give me some advice when I went in. But you got to have a plan with anything you do in life. Have a plan. No different than when we talk about content creating. Have a plan. What's your angle? What's your niche? What's the time you're going to put in, and what you're looking for? What are you looking for to get out of this? Because it's not something to just take lightly. Because your life will be on the line at some time. Excuse me. Your life will be on the line at some time if you serve long enough. I can almost promise you that part.
Yeah.
So, Paul, I want to change a little bit. I want to tell you, have you ever had to be if you don't mind sharing, in a combat situation? I know you were at the helicopter and all, but have you ever had to be in a combat situation that you're okay with sharing with us?
Yeah. So you kind of talked about going from being far back in field artillery to being as an MP, like right at the front line. My job was front line and beyond. So I was always out front. So it was me and the rest of it, an aviation unit, whether it be a special forces unit or an infantry unit or ranger unit. We were out there out front all the time. So that was our job. Um, I would say probably, I'm not gonna say probably. The most significant combat operation I've been in was uh, in October of, I want to say, 2010, if I remember correctly. We were inserting um, a unit of Italian special forces into a village uh, in northwestern Afghanistan.
Mm.
And so not to necessarily belabor the story, the intelligence was wrong, and that morning those guys were ready to fight.
Oh
And
wow.
so we fought in that valley for the better part of 3 hours.
Mm.
And they were in cliffs, in caves. You couldn't find them. And so we cycled through that day trying to get them out of there. 6 Apache helicopters in that valley just to suppress or eliminate enough of the enemy to allow the aircraft, the helicopters they flew in on, to come back and get them.
Wow. Wow.
They were
Mm.
fuel critical, and by the time we were able to get them all out, we inserted 92 and took out 92.
Congrats.
But
Oh my God. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. That's good stuff right there. 100%. Man, man. Oh, mm, okay. Because see, like I say, I can only imagine being in that, and I guess I'm trying to visualize it for the people that's maybe listening that don't know. So the 92 that you were talking about, there's a 92 people on the ground.
correct.
They're
Yes.
on the ground. They're on the ground in the heat of the battle, fighting back and forth, and they're calling for you to come and lay down maybe some air suppress or some air support that's going to
Yeah.
help them get out of that situation that because of bad intelligence. If
Yes.
I'm making sure, okay, so 100%. So and to have 92 go in and 92 come out. Now, not saying 92 wasn't maybe somebody might have got wounded and things like that, but we're talking 92 in and 92 out and out still alive. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
100%. So I want to make sure we're on the right page. So
Yeah.
92 in, 92 out, all alive, and you saying 3 hours of battling. That's awesome, man. Congratulations. So how does the military reward or do they reward? Do you get a bonus? Like if I did that on my job right now, I would get some type of bonus check or something like that. Do the military give any type of bonuses for something like that?
So there's no bonus. But what I did receive, and a lot of my crew, we received the Distinguished Flying Cross. There was about
Wow.
6 of us. For those that don't know, that is the fourth highest award you can be awarded in the United States Army. Um, the the award has lineage all the way back to 1927 when it was adopted by Congress, coming out of World War I. Uh, I we talk about rare air, and it's kind of a funny thing. It's almost a pun as an aviator talking about rare air. Um, I think over time there's about 1,600 awardees since 1927, and when you look back at the history, I want to say upwards of 90+% of the Tuskegee Airmen have been awarded that same commendation.
Mm,
And so I consider myself blessed to have made it back, and doubly as blessed to have been, awarded that award. I earned that award. It was a hard fought day, and I earned it. But to know I earned it and be in the company of people like former presidents, George H.W. Bush won it once. Like I said, 90+% of the Tuskegee Airmen have that award. So
mm,
I consider myself very fortunate to be one of the
right.
people who can say that on any given day I can hold up that award and say that one's mine.
That was yours. No, congratulations on that. The way you're speaking about it, and it's almost like if, and those who maybe know sports or something to say, hey, I was inducted into the Hall of Fame, or I was, you know what I'm saying? Because it's one of those type of awards that everybody doesn't get. Even if I cannot say that I will not, even as a military veteran and this and that, and I served my time, served my country, and I'm proud of the what I did because I know I contribute my part, but I could never put that medal on my uniform. I could never put that medal on my resume. I couldn't put that medal on my DD 214 and walk around, but that is on yours. So congratulations on that. That is truly a great honor, and I'm super excited that they did recognize you for just the fact that the work that you and your team did and going in and that y'all were successful in getting the 92 in and the 92 out. Those are stories a lot of people don't get to hear. Those are stories that you don't hear on CNN and Fox News and any of those other things. You just don't see it. So it's a lot of stuff that happened behind the scenes that a lot of people just won't know. They will never hear about it because it just happened. Matter of fact, what was that movie? A Few Good Men. Is that the one where, like you say, you can't handle the truth.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that happened behind the lines that you don't even want to know what's going on. You can't handle the truth. You just want to know that when you wake up, you can go to your store, drink your coffee, eat your donuts, watch your TV. You don't want to know all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. You just
Very
don't
true.
want to know. And that was one of the great reasons why I wanted Paul McKnight on the show today, because some of the stories I already knew, but I wanted everyone to know these stories because it's amazing. It is amazing what you had to go through. And now I know we're running short on time, but I just want to I want to hit on this right now because this is a real thing that a lot of people don't know too, is the mental part of even what you just said, the mental part, the PTSD part of
Mm.
that. Uh, uh, have you? And if you don't want to share, I'm okay because I understand HIPAA and I understand all that. Have you experienced anything that in the mental side of that because of what you know you went through? See, when I was in field artillery, we shot around downrange. We didn't know if it hit anything or whatever. We got the reports back, like whatever we was aiming at, we got. We don't know if it was people in there. We don't know whatever. We just know that the rocket we sent was downrange, and what came back was a report saying you hit it. Bam,
Right.
deal's
Yeah.
over. You know that you laid down 92 in, 92 out, but the only way you could achieve that was some people that was trying to get those 92 wasn't getting those 92. So is
Right.
that, I just wanted, can you, if you don't mind, share just a little bit?
Um, at this point, I would not say I've suffered any ill effects from that.
That's good.
Having an interesting conversation with a coworker of mine just this week, and he talks about kind of what is the mindset of that. Um, you know, all of us have our convictions. We fight for a particular reason, and sometimes your side wins, sometimes your side doesn't win. Uh, but I knew beyond myself, there were fathers and brothers, uncles that needed to get home.
Mm,
And so every day I approach my job with I'm providing a service to someone to get them home. And we both, they chose their side, we chose ours. And so I think as far as resolving it for myself, my job was to get everyone home that came over, that if they were in my sphere of influence or my team, I trained my team just as hard as I flew. And
mm,
so, that was our goal.
right.
And so I don't suffer any ill effects from that because I felt like, I prepared myself for what my job was,
Mm,
kind of talking about what that path was. And I understood that I had to be resilient. And it did always help to be able to talk to someone. I would never go and say that I stuffed all this down and I handled it just gracefully all on my own. There were people between my coworkers and chaplains and people like that I would go talk to. There were great leaders out there that who shared some of the experience with me or had great experience in other places that could help me understand and resolve some of those things. So, I would say at this point, I've been blessed to not have any ill effects from what my job was. But I look back on that time with fondness. I look back on it with a little bit of resolve, reverence, and again, just infinitely, infinitely blessed that I was able to do what I did without any, you know, uh, like I said, ill side effects.
No, that's what's up. I remember being in Kuwait and we were bogged down in a foxhole, and we had an interpreter with us, so we had the interpreter was with us, and he, he's sitting there, and I looked at him because they like we got intelligence that the enemy was coming over the wall and or over the hills, and we had to, we were ready for it, but and I look over at the interpreter, and I'm like, okay, where's your weapon? And he was like, well, that's what you're for. I'm like, oh no, oh no. Let me tell you something. When they come over this hill, I'm fighting for me. I am fighting for me and this right here. And I knew I had a mission, but I'm like, you need to fight for yourself because we all
Right.
trying to get home. And that was a big thing, that, you knew you had people at home that was dependent on you. You
Right.
was in there for a reason, and you was going to lay it and do everything you had in your power to be able to get back home to them. And that was one of the biggest mindsets for me. And I think that would sometimes might hurt a lot of people is because you knew that there were people that was coming across that hill that didn't want to be there. They didn't want to fight. They didn't want to fight me no more than I wanted to fight them. But we were doing our job. And then when you stop them from being able to go back home, it bothered because you knew that was something that you wanted to do. So it's like
Right.
I wanted to go back home. So I know that person wants to go back home. And because of whatever conflict that had nothing to do with me or you, you know, somebody's not going back home today, and you have to learn how to suppress that. And so, bruh, we're at that 1 hour mark. We're at the
Yeah.
1 hour mark, and I really enjoyed this conversation. I'm telling you, I had a really good time with you. Everybody that's in there that's still watching, I truly thank you all for being here. And if you've been on the Big Jack, I'm sorry, the Iron Sharpening Iron Show, if you've been here, if you heard one before, you know that normally right after the 1 hour mark, I try to give a nugget. I give a nugget so everybody in here would know something that because you hung out the whole time with us, you're going to learn something that no one, if they got off early, they're going to miss this. Unless they watch the video later, you only would know it if at the end. So here's the nugget. Here's the nugget. Paul McKnight. Was it Major Paul McKnight? Retired Major? Retired
Major.
Major Paul McKnight, he's my brother. That's my real brother. That's my brother, my blood brother. That is my brother. So I am so happy and proud of you. Wonderful job. So that's the nugget for those who didn't know. This is my brother. I'm so proud of his stories and to be able to sit here and talk to him. We both shared the experience of being in the military, but he definitely climbed to the heights of being a major and all the stuff that you did. So proud of you. And thank you for being on the show with me today. Thank you
You're
for
very
being a
welcome. Thank
blessing.
you.
I look forward to watching this video over and over. I want to thank everybody that was in there with us today, everybody that supported, and I've seen the chats, and I'm sorry that I wasn't able to hit everybody's comments and things like that. If you have any other questions or comments or whatever, drop them in the comments because we'll still see this. And Paul has already said that he would answer anybody's questions. If you got any questions, just definitely talking about the military or going in. Now that he's teaching ROTC, he's dealing with kids that's now getting ready to take those next steps or maybe thinking about taking those steps. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments once this go live. But until next time, I want to say to everyone, stay blessed. Please have peace in your life. That's reach out. That's help one another grow and glow. And until next time, I love you all. Peace. Thanks, Paul.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay.